This is my £1,900 Porsche Boxster 986. You've probably seen over the last 12 months, and it is almost exactly 12 months since I got it MOT'd and on the road. I've been putting a lot of miles on it and going through it mechanically to make sure it's reliable and rewarding to drive, but I haven't washed it, I haven't even touched it with a cloth, which is why it looks grim. In this episode, I'm going to actually spend the next 24 hours giving it a deep clean, which it so very much deserves, which will not only increase my appreciation of it, but it'll probably increase its value. I'm Jonny Smith, this is The Late Brake Show. But that's not the only thing that we're covering in this video, because I decided to cave in and reward what had been such an enjoyable year of bargain Boxster driving with a full suspension refresh in the form of adjustable BC Racing coilovers and entirely new polybushing and suspension arm kit from Spider Performance. All the things basically that make a Boxster handle so ruddy delightfully. So I've bought the car here to Nielsen in Derbyshire. Nielsen are a UK car cleaning company since 1969, and they proudly support our barn find editions of the Late Brake Show. But I haven't had a great deal of chance to clean my own cars in recent time, so this is where their detailing academy is based, and that's where the box is going to be for the next 24 hours. With a chap called Graeme. He's somewhere in there. And we are going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And I am intending to drive this car all year round, so like I did last year. So I want to protect it as well as improve it, because underneath all of that grim dirtiness is a far better conditioned car than I first realised when I bought this. It goes without saying, if you haven't seen the first and second and third episodes of the Project Boxster, go in the description and I'll put them in there, the links to watch. You said something really poignant to me as you were putting the car in here.
Yeah.
To say this video is, well, you say it in your words, you said it better.
Well, I think it's important that the content that we create here is to demonstrate how people who follow your channel can detail their car or clean their car with relatively low budget and relatively little experience. And it's just about arriving at a point that you're happy and making sure that you've done things in the safest way. And the products that we're going to use are pretty much relatively easy to use, self-explanatory. So yeah, it's about getting the best results we can with little to no experience and not a big budget.
Yeah, that's good. Because obviously the world of detailing, there's many levels.
Oh,
and it's obsessive, I know.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, the detailing space, we will trigger a lot of detailers in this video. We just will. So, but I believe that for you, Jonny, it's very much about arriving at a point where you're happy with your vehicle, and anybody watching the content, when you arrive at the point that you're happy with the vehicle, you're done. Yeah. If that's the way you want to do your car, that's up to you, because there's any amount of people who tell you to do it this way or that way. Yeah. Do it the way that you believe is best for you, and that's that.
And I can't add anything of more value to that, Graeme, so let the trials begin. I don't know if any part of this car has been repainted.
Well, your bonnet has.
Has it?
Yeah, this front wing has. So I'd expect the factory paint to be between 120 and 140, and I'm getting 300s, 200s from the front end.
Right, okay. So but that's good from a cutting point of view, is it?
It is. Same on the door. It is and it isn't, because I can't determine how much of that is clear coat and how much of it is paint. Right. Whereas from factory, we kind of know. So the process for doing the hood is we'll get it a little bit wet, and we'll dilute some of our pre-wash product and then we'll just apply it with a trigger spray or a pump sprayer, and we'll scrub the hood with some medium bristle brushes just to agitate the algae and the bird lime out.
There is algae, isn't there?
Yeah, there's quite a bit. And look, it's a 22-year-old hood, it's original, so there'll be some scars, but we'll get it to the point where we're satisfied enough to possibly seal it either tonight or tomorrow. So that's going to be job one because it's the dirtiest part, and then we'll kind of move on through arches, wheels, and so on and so on.
Right, I need to help out now. Look at the goo. Well, it proves that the drain channels are working because the goo's coming out the right place. And of course that was, on a previous video, one of the things I had to repair. It goes without saying that I'm already proud of this car mechanically, and I've found it to really have got under my skin the way it drives. It's been great, but obviously I have neglected it appearance-wise. Aesthetically, it looks appalling. So that's why I'm looking forward to seeing the change coming through. And I do actually find cleaning cars rewarding. It's just that my life at the moment means that my time is quite precious. The other thing is, if you haven't seen the other episodes of this Bargain Boxster project, you really should watch those before watching this one. But you probably knew that. Also, there is a discount code in the description below where you can get 35% discount off all Nielsen products. I suggest you go and have a look and go shopping. Right, next up, wheels and wheel arches.
Yeah, so we're going to flush out the wheel arches because they're particularly grimy. Get some water in there, then our pre-diluted pre-wash product, again 10:1, do a little bit of agitation. We'll get some on the rubber of the tyres to get rid of any old tyre dressing, and then we'll hit the wheels with the wheel cleaner, and then latterly we'll probably bring out some fallout remover just to get rid of some iron deposits in there.
Yes, there's a cable back there. That's my emergency boot release cable.
Just try and get some of that ingrained muck.
And you let that sit and marinate, do you?
Yeah, I let sit for about 5 minutes or so, get some on the tyres, just to get rid of any old tyre dressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, let that sit for a wee while, and a little bit of agitation just helps. It's about levels really, about how far we can go in a short space of time.
Well, I was going to ask, I know some people take wheels off to detail.
Yeah.
Which you obviously can do.
We could do, Johnny, but I really want this to be about what you can do at home without having to go too far. So this is just entry level. If you wanted to go really, really deep into it, you'd be jacking the car up, wheels off, scrubbing them, you could really go to the nth degree, but this is just what you can achieve with limited time, limited experience, and a little bit of product.
Yeah. Right, so now you're going on with the wheel cleaner. You're not going with the fallout cleaner first. I know about the fallout remover.
Yeah. No, I'm going to hit it with the wheel cleaner because this is what we've got is a ready to use, really good wheel cleaner. So it does the job. It's a non-acidic wheel cleaner. So what I'm going to do is just apply, a good generous coat of the wheel cleaner, and then whilst I go around the wheel arches, let that dwell for a few minutes and just start doing its own thing, Good thing about these wheels, Johnny, is they're accessible, so...
They're simple wheels.
Yeah, we can get a wheel brush in there, and even just with that, with a bit of wheel cleaner and using my finger to rub, you can see the painted surface behind, so they should come up pretty good just with the wheel cleaner alone.
Yeah.
So, that's about the only place a sponge should touch on a car.
Hopefully you can just see that reddy colour that's bleeding out of the car. So that is iron filings. metal particles that are coming off from the fallout remover. Whilst Graham's just rinsing off the alloys, after this I think it's snow foam time. Is it snow foam time after this?
Pre-wash and snow foam, yeah.
Yeah. Snow foam, snow foam, snow foam time. Thanks to our friends at Nielsen Car Cleaning Products who are sponsoring this episode. They've put together 2 bundles for you with 30% discount already applied. There's a starter bundle which has all of these products in here. You've got quick detailer, you've got tyre dressing, you've got interior cleaner, you've got my favourite cherry shampoo and the glass cleaner and the wheel cleaner. And then if you go for the maintenance package, you've got all of these plus these 2, which is pre-wash and pH neutral snow foam as well. 30% discount has already been applied. There's a link on the screen and there is also a link in the description to click straight through. And if you don't want to buy a bundle, but you still want to buy independent products, you can, and there'll be a discount that is applied. And all the details for that are also in the description. Thank you. Now that we've given the car an initial non-contact clean, give me your verdict on the paint and bodywork, because I think we've both agreed that certainly on this side of the bonnet there seems to be a little bit of kind of pimpling and
there's a lot of orange peel in the bonnet. I think that the rest of the body panels will come up really well. I think when we go into the machine polish stage, we'll bring that lustre back into the paint. But I think there's only so far we'll be able to go with the bonnet. But it's going to come back really good. I guess the only issue we've got with cleaning it so much is it starts to show up all the things that you couldn't see with all of the muck that's been in there for a year.
It's so true. There are scratches on it, on the bumpers that I hadn't seen, and I know it's bad. Probably the worst bit I'm going to show you is down here, and you can just see, hopefully with my reflection, there's the start of some corrosion on the leading edge of that rear arch, and then down here. That's probably the worst bit. But actually, really, this car's in very, I think, very, very good condition, all things considered. Bear in mind, I wanted to buy a ropey Boxster. It was actually less ropey than I thought. And it looks really good right now, considering you haven't even touched the blue paint yet.
No, not touched it at all.
You're getting excited, I can tell. Your face, you've got an excited face.
Yeah, I do.
This was an unexpected present. This is phenomenal. It's a huge 3D sign that is patinated steel with acrylic letters on it and like a thick backboard that I've just been gifted. And this is your idea, was it, Graeme?
Well, partly mine, and a lot went from the design element from Pat at Northern CNC's wonderful brain. He follows your channel and he knows pretty much.
Northern CNC. Can you pick it up and just show it a minute? I thought it was inch-thick steel when you first walked in with it and thought, you're the strongest man I know. You can just casually pick up inch-thick steel. So this thing, let's look at the depth. It's a thick thing, this.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to get this when I came here today. That is totally going in the new Late Break Show garage space. Perfect timing. Wow. Northern CNC, you guys are very good at what you do. And the attention to detail on the sort of like the cracked patinated paint, the reacting paint, it's so good. Well, many thanks. Don't forget, coming up, that full suspension rebuild, and I mean full suspension rebuild. In the meantime, back to the detailing. So this is when we actually start to touch the bodywork of the car with our hands. And it's worth pointing out that now it's relatively clean. You can see how straight the bodywork is. Of course there's some blemishes, there's bound to be. Graeme's seen that a few panels have been repainted, that's fine. But the idea from now on in is, I guess, to decontaminate and then polish as many of the scratches and imperfections out of the car, clean all the door shuts and things, and then we're going to turn our attention also to the interior. But something I should have mentioned probably at the start of this video, I've actually found on eBay a pair of second-hand correct OEM rear light clusters, because this car should have orange rear light clusters. These are post-facelift. This car's last year pre-facelift. Boring fact. This is a 2002 car, last of the plastic windows. So I want to put those in, probably take them out while Graeme's machine polishing. And I've got some new mats, and I want to tidy up under the frunk and the trunk, boot, whatever you call it, where some of the carpet clips and things have been dislodged. This is where I have some sad news. The SD card footage of us actually shampooing the car and washing it with mitts got corrupted, as did the two-stage machine polishing using Nielsen cutting compound that Graeme painstakingly carried out in order to get the Boxster's lustre back, as did the part where Graeme and I added a coating of exhibition polish. Believe me, no one was more annoyed with losing this footage than myself. I really am sorry. Anyway, using some software, we did manage to retrieve a couple of the clips, and I did take a couple of pictures and videos on my phone for social media, which is what you're watching right now. While Graeme was polishing, I did switch over the rear lights as mentioned. We used interior cleaner on the carpets to draw out any of the stains, and leather cleaner on the original grey seats and door trim panels. We ended up unbolting the seats actually, because it's only a few Torx bolts on the Boxster. As you've guessed, most of that footage also sadly disappeared. Gutted. But once the seats were out, we could clean them much more efficiently and vacuum the car better. I must also give a huge thank you to my mate Paul French at Paul French Specialist Cars for finding a pair of immaculate OEM mats and sending them over to me. Cheers, Paul. They're perfect. Right, final part of the puzzle tonight, Graeme.
Yeah.
You're sealing the roof.
Yeah, fabric protector. This is one of the only products from our professional range that we've used on your car, Jonny. So everything else has been from our retail range, as we call it. But this is something that we're going to do additionally to your car, just to help seal the fabric back in again.
Right. So it helps to just repel the moisture.
It does. Unfortunately, we couldn't get all of the scars out of the roof, but it's because we've cleaned it back so much. It's worthy of just helping it not hold on to moisture.
Yeah. So you've masked it off, and it's obviously dry. We've left it overnight to dry because it's cold at the moment, so it didn't dry very quick. Just so everybody knows, we have opened a door for this. Anything that involves something smelly.
And all I'm doing with the cross hatch pattern is making sure that we catch the stitch in both directions.
Ah, okay. One thing I'm very glad about is that the roof doesn't leak anymore. And if it was going to ever leak, it would have been in the storms we've had over the last week, coupled with the fact that you've pressure washed the car about 10 times in the last 24 hours.
We've put more water over this car in the last 24 hours than probably it's seen in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, the culmination of all of our elbow grease over the last 24 hours meant that the Boxster now looks like this. Yes, we could keep going with the detailing, and no, the car isn't perfect, but look at it. Remember, I haven't done any body repair at all, and this car cost me £1,900. So having detailed the Boxster at the end of winter, now spring has sprung and I want to get the car out on the road. But the reason why it's levitating next to my ear is because I've brought it here to TH Racing here in Biggleswade, Hertfordshire, and I've decided to put some new suspension on it. These cars eat suspension bushes, they're very susceptible to it, and this thing's done 129,000 miles. So I've decided to invest in a coilover kit and a number of new suspension arms and bushings. You're going to be seeing us fit that today. .986 Boxster suspension full refresh kit, which is what you can buy from Spider. You can get it with shock absorbers as well. I've not gone for that, but I've got Polybush coffin arms, Polybush tuning fork front and rear ×2, rear track arm tie rod, steering inner track, front track rod arm, top mounts, drop links, bump stops, conical washers, steering rack gator clamp, lower track arm nut, front coffin arm bolts, because the bolts on these often rust in and they're a bugger. The kit can be optioned with polybushes or traditional rubber bushes. The latter is a few £100 cheaper, but in the end I decided on the former, as Spider assured me that their polybushes are softer than most others and they ride more like rubber. I think it's worth pointing out that there's a lot, luckily, of really good independent Porsche specialists in the UK. And when you buy a car of this kind of age and price point, there's probably very little point in taking it to a main dealer. Now, when I first bought my Bargain Boxster for £1,900, obviously I had to spend some cash on it. I knew there were things wrong with it. And I had an initial deep service and a check by La Rose down in Kent. And Spider Performance, their sister company, are going to be supplying a lot of the parts for the suspension on the Bargain Boxster. Here at TH Racing, they work on all kinds of 911s, air-cooled stuff, water-cooled stuff, vintage stuff, and they do Boxsters almost every week. It's one of their bread and butter vehicles, really. So I met James at Ignition Cars and Coffee, a little cars and coffee event that's local to me where I keep my own late break show cars. We got chatting about Boxster upgrades and, well, I decided to book it in with him because I knew I wanted to fit new suspension. BC Racing is the coilover kit that I've gone for, and we're going to be fitting those today. Now there's a level of adjustability, obviously, and I wanted to make sure they were more road focused than track focused because I'm not going to be taking my car on the track. I've got other cars I could take on a track. I'm lucky enough to work in an industry where I can borrow stuff like that. Obviously it goes without saying, if you haven't seen the previous episodes on my Bargain Boxster that cost £1,900, have a look in the description. I'll put the other previous episodes down. This is James.
Morning.
James is TH Racing. Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been working? You worked at a Porsche main dealer, is that right?
I've worked at a couple, yeah. I was at Porsche Cambridge for about 8 years. I did a little bit of Mercedes-Benz in the middle. I've worked in 2 other Porsche specialists right at the start when I was an apprentice.
So you've been around these contraptions.
25 years now, yeah.
Is it 25?
It is. It flies by. Yeah, it's funny because these were basically the current car when I started.
Right.
And I'm still working on them today.
So you don't hate them yet?
No. Don't get me wrong. We have issues with them. You know, they aren't, the 964, the 993 outside are probably aging better even though they're 10 and 20 years older.
Is that because they're simpler?
No, it's because of build quality.
Okay.
And it's not that they're bad cars, they were very, very well designed. I used to race one of these and they're fantastic cars.
Yeah.
But it's simply things like the quality of steel. So I just have, I rebuilt the engine of that 964, I can take the exhaust off that and it will all undo. On this, a lot of it might snap.
Yeah. But hang on, James, this car saved Porsche.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Didn't it?
It's a fantastic car. It really is a fantastic
car. Well, and also you can't buy a 964 for £3,000 or £2,000.
No, definitely not. or anything like it. You used to be able to. I wish I had when you could.
Oh.
But,
let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
Some
of the car, I was offered an SC back in about 2005 for £5 because it had a tartan interior and no one wanted it.
Get lost.
And I could have put a black interior in it in a weekend. And I was like, oh, I haven't really got £5 at the moment.
I'd pay extra for tartan now.
Oh yeah, no, it was quirky. It was definitely quirky. It was a blue and red tartan.
That's German. That's very German.
Yeah, it was. I quite liked it, but he couldn't sell it. And I was like, no, I haven't really got £5 at the moment. And now they're worth what, 50?
Yeah.
For a half decent one.
Yeah.
You know? It's a shame. Hey ho.
So today I've obviously laid out on the ground at its feet lots of packets and boxes of suspension. You've had the car for a few days beforehand because you said that these are notorious for seizing bolts.
It's not just these, you know. We had a 987 in back at Christmas, and we were doing similar stuff, but just general replacement stuff because they were worn and tired. We weren't sort of going a bit motorsporty like you are, and it took me 2 days just to cut all of his arms out. Because unfortunately the middles of the bushes and the arms are aluminium, the bolts that go through them are steel, they actively corrode against one another and then they seize and then they won't come out.
Right.
So I wanted your car first to make sure you weren't going to spend all day filming us cutting some bolts out. And amazingly, you're a very lucky boy, there was only one control arm bolt seized and there was only one drop link seized in it. I don't know how, but everything else has come undone.
That's miraculous.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
So we're going to take the whole corner off because we're doing all of the arms. We're doing your front arm, your lower arm, we're doing the strut, the shocks, the drop links, everything. It will be far simpler just to take the whole assembly off, strip it down on the bench, and then, for instance, the strut coming out of the hub, which as you can see is not the nicest, we can get a much better angle on it and we're not going to risk damaging your wheel arch or anything like that. So yeah. I'm just going to take off these plastic plugs, the brake pipe, brake caliper, and then drop the whole thing in one go. That's literally your top mount nuts there.
Taking the plastic cover off.
I don't need to actually, I was going to pull it up, but because we're taking the whole thing off, I don't even need to look down there. We'll take them off later because your new struts, I think, have got softening and hardening valves on the top.
Little twiddly things.
I think they'll probably be sticking through there at the end.
Oh, congratulations, she's a girl. The whole refresh kit costs about £1,000, but it includes pretty much every bush and every arm for a Boxster, so it's actually money pretty well spent. And if you do it all at the same time, you pay one labour fee, right? Because you're doing it all at the same time. James is about to offer up the old BC Racing strut. Just wanted to say that in the Spider Performance kit, the suspension refresh kit, you get these clips, which is for the boot, for the steering gaiter. But it does come with these new track rod ends. So we're going to be putting these on, but we're not putting them on right now because they're nearly always seized. And I don't want to spend hours on this video doing boring unseizing work because you don't want to see that because it's dull. So new strut, some lube.
Just a little bit, not even really to help it in, just to stop what we saw with the old one, stop the corrosion inside the hub.
Yeah.
As best as we can anyway. It will obviously eventually all come out with a bit of rain and a bit of road salt and everything else. But
just found out that these BC Racing coilovers have got 32 clicks of adjustment on the top. That's 32 choices.
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
I don't do well with lots of choices. But what I've said to James is I want the car to be close to original firmness, original damping feel, to be honest. I don't want to go really, really hard. That's not what this car's about for me. I can borrow GT3s for that off Porsche. I'm lucky like that. As you saw from my unboxing, the drop links are included in the Spider Performance refresh kit. because Boxsters kill drop links for a living, and mine are no exception, so they are going to be going on there. This might seem like absolute lunacy to others, but so I bought the car for £2 grand, as you know, and I've probably already spent, I've probably spent 1,500 quid on it. Maybe a bit less. A lot of bits and bobs. This suspension setup, the BC Racing Coilover pack, £1,000. The Spider Performance bush kit and new arms refresh kit is 1,000 quid. So I'm basically spending what I paid on the car again in suspension. However, you can buy a much lower mileage, better condition Boxster, which still needs a lot of those bushes and arms. And I think I'm going to keep this because I'm having so much fun with the Boxster. When you buy a car at such a low amount, it's almost a pleasure to spend more money on it, doing things which you'll really notice and will help it last longer. That's my theory anyway. The rear strut uses the original top mount. We've inspected ours. The rubber is good. So we're going in. Okay. There we go. Magic. It's located back in. So now the guys have bolted the top mount on, so the new BC Racing Coilover is fitted. Now going to fit the coffin arms and the other sway bars onto that corner. And then I won't show you the other two sides because they're the same. It's like a repeat. Right, we're just finishing the last bits on the Boxster. It will now have new brakes, new suspension, and a few other things that have been discovered that James has found that we're going to put right. I hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of the Bargain Boxster update. I want to say a massive thanks to Nielsen, I want to say a massive thanks to TH Racing, BC Racing for the suspension, and Spider Performance for the new bushes and bits and bobs. If you have bought a Boxster off the back of this video, the previous episodes of this video, which I've had a number of emails from people blaming me for buying a Boxster themselves, let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have another subscriber on the roster. Thank you.